Now that you have Google Chrome and VS Code installed, I want to give you a quick overview of VS Code. The thing is that when you're a new developer and you download this software called VS Code or any text editor, they come with a lot of options and it can be overwhelming. So in this video, I want to just make you comfortable with a code editor like VS Code. So now I want to tell you that a text editor is actually very fancy software on the surface, but on the background, it is very simple. The number one reason we use a text editor is because it has something called syntax highlighting. So let's say if I go to VS Code website and I go over here, you see some code has been written over here and it has different colors. So that means it automatically highlights the code parts so it's easier for the developer to read. You just write code, but it automatically makes it different colors so it's easier to read. The second thing the text editor has, it has some help text. So let's say if you're writing certain code, it's going to give you the different options that you can write along the way as you're typing. So as you're typing something, just like in Google, let's say you go to Google and you're making a search, so I say MAK whatever, and it just gives me these helpful text. So that's another feature that a text editor has. So these are the two primary reasons that we use a code editor, or else we can actually write code in simple any kind of software. We don't have to have a code editor. So that's the number one reason I want to tell you why we use a code editor. The second thing that I want to just get you familiar with VS Code is it has something called color themes. So if you just select different themes, you can change the color of how your code editor looks. I like to stick with the default, so I'm going to stick with my default colors. Another thing I want to show you is that it has a lot of options over here. So for the most part, we're going to be using just the Explorer section. So over here, when we have a lot of code, a lot of different files, it can just help us explore those files. Just the way in our computer, let's say, I create a folder over here. If I open this folder or I go to iLoveCoding video folder, whatever, all these folders that we have, it basically shows those files. So let's say in a project, so I have this project folder, I create this name of the folder is like first dash page, and I import, drag and drop this over here. It's going to basically show that in the Explorer section. You see first page over here. And now I can simply add files. So let's say file a.js. Let's say if you're making a JS file, and I can just right click and do the same thing. Let's say index.html. And I can make more files over here. Source code.abc. All right. So if I create these files over here and I open my folder, you see those files have been created in that particular project folder. So we call this a project folder, and we import or drag and drop this project folder in our VS Code, and we can simply browse that over here. If you want to organize that into folders, I can just create a folder over here and I can sub-organize these files. So if I want to drag this over here, I can just move this particular file inside this folder. So if I go over here, inside folder, you see this file. So basically, that's what a code editor is. It just simply does syntax highlighting and stuff like that. Now it has other advanced features as well, but it doesn't matter. The point of the matter is that it just is a tool to facilitate developers' job. And if it gets very overwhelming, just ignore those features. Just like right now when I was playing around with this file, this particular thing opened up. Do not worry about it. I'm just going to close it. That's all. We don't need it. Now, one more thing I want to tell you with VS Code is that they're constantly upgrading. So if your VS Code looks slightly different, maybe the colors are different over here, they usually have a purple over here, do not worry about it. They're just keeping on upgrading it. Some options, some icons just look different. I have certain extensions installed, so extensions are over here. So you may have a different extension pre-installed. I may have some different extensions installed. That's why it looks slightly different. But the fact of the matter is you just focus on the code which is being written and you're going to be all fine. So with that said, let's start in our next video by creating our first web page. Talk to you in the next video.